Happy New Year, everybody! 2019. That means today I'm going to be doing my top albums of 2018. Going to be doing 31. I can't believe how many good releases there were out this year. I mean, just incredible amount of great releases. I really had a hard time cutting it down. I didn't want to do 50, and I could have. That's what's amazing about it. And that doesn't even include the stuff I didn't even get. I mean, there's some great albums I didn't even pick up yet. Like, I don't have the new Tourniquet because the vinyl's not out yet, so I'm waiting for that. I don't have the new Voivod yet, and I love Voivod. I just haven't picked it up yet. There's just so much great stuff out. Witherfall, another band, they have a new album out. I don't have it yet. So there's a lot of stuff I didn't even get. And I still had enough to do 50. And here's a few more albums up here that came out this year that aren't even on my list. I usually in the past shy away, whatever, from doing live albums or EPs. And this year I decided, you know what? I like live albums and I like EPs. So if I want to include one, I'm going to include one. So yeah, I did kind of use that as a basis though. So like Alice Cooper, I listened to that thing a ton this year, but I pulled it out because it was a live album. However, there are a couple of them in here. So I'm just going to get right into this. It's going to be really quick. Just going to show you a few real quick, that didn't make it, that probably would have any other year, but Shadow Killer, Gruesome, Primal Fear, Sardonyx, Ted Nugent, if you can believe it, Perpetual Paranoia, Axel Rudy Pell, Crushing the Deceiver. I always have a hard time saying this one, the Excessum. Brian Vollmer's solo album. There's just a few that didn't make the cut that could have easily. There's more. Like I said, I had a hard time with this list. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to try and keep it to about a minute a piece, if we're less, just so I can get through the list and just not be an hour-long video. Probably make the top 10 a separate video, but here we go. Starting at the bottom of the list, number 31. Not because it's a bad album, it's a freaking killer album. I think if I would have had more time with it, I would have liked it more. This is IMPELLITTERI, Nature of the Beast. I'm sorry, The Nature of the Beast. Fantastic return to form for IMPELLITTERI. Great album, awesome cover art. Exactly what you want to hear from from Yngwie, from IMPELLITTERI. What I was going to say was, it's kind of got that noodly, crazy guitar playing that you expect from like an Yngwie Malmsteen. But it's better songwriting. I mean, the guy can write great riffs, great songs, not just shred on a guitar. He also can write these great heavy riffs and great guitars, great vocals as well. Rob Rock, one of my all-time favorite heavy metal vocalists. Definitely a great album. Really want to get that one on vinyl. Only have it on CD at the moment. This one, love this album. I really wanted this to be on nolifetilmetal Records. It just, unfortunately, it got, another company got it before we did. And that's Old Wolf, Faustian. Let me see if I can pronounce this right. Faustian Mass. Fantastic new wave of traditional heavy metal band. This is their first full-length album. They had an EP out, which I've gushed about in years past. Just fantastic album. Was not released on vinyl, only on CD. Can't even tell you how many times I played this one in my car. Kind of an early Iron Maiden-ish vibe. I don't want to say they sound like Iron Maiden clones because they definitely are not. But it has that kind of feel, like it's got a little bit of Iron Maiden and Tank, Judas Priest, and Girl School, maybe a little bit of Venom. It's got that kind of just, early, raw, heavy, new wave of British heavy metal style to it. Joe Perry. Joe Perry comes flying through with a great solo album, one of his best since the Joe Perry Project. Very diverse album, just something very different for him, which I really enjoyed. It's not the raw, straightforward, heavy rock from the Joe Perry Project, nor is it more the bluesy stuff that he did with his last two solo albums. This is kind of a mixture of all of that. There's songs on here that could or should have been on the last Aerosmith album that are on here. But then there's other stuff, like the very first song, Rumble in the Jungle, that's absolutely just out of the ballpark, different from anything Joe's done before. So, great album. Really good. Check it out. Was not released on vinyl. I pre-ordered the vinyl for it. I waited forever, and finally the pre-orders got canceled for the vinyl. So I'm not sure why vinyl never came out on this one. That's unfortunate. This one's awesome. This one is awesome. And the only reason it's kind of lower on the list because it is a live album and an EP. So this is the new Anger is Art. This is a live album that's really well recorded, really well rehearsed. Great, fast, heavy thrash, and if the name alone doesn't give it away, this is fast as fuck. And this is just fantastic heavy metal, thrash metal. Raw, edgy, to the point, machine gun riffing, point on vocals, not clean, not so guttural that it becomes death metal, right down that middle area that that thrash metal sound. There's 3 new songs on here that are just fantastic. Again, there's an EP on the end, and then there's a full-length live album. So there are 13 live tracks and then 3 studio tracks. This thing is just fantastic. Like I said, easily would have been higher in the list. I put it lower only because it was a live album, but this is just a great album from Los Angeles-based Anger is Art, who is led by actually by a guy a lot of people might know. See if I can find his photo on here. Steve Gaines, right there. And Steve Gaines, of course, is the brother of Timothy Gaines. He also played in some other very well-known LA bands in the 80s, but I'll just let it stand as he's the guy behind Anger of Art. Love this record. Another one I really want on vinyl, just haven't got it yet. Unfortunately, I'm not a bank and just don't have money coming out to, growing on trees. So, the German metal tank is back. U.D.O. U.D.O. Excuse me. U.D.O. And this is Steel Factory. Riff-tastic. I mean, just on point, exactly what you want to hear from him. Not unlike Accept, or his past stuff, but the production is better. I kind of thought in some of the last few albums, I really liked the music, but some of the production was very sterile, very digital. And this one, I'm sure, is recorded digitally as well, but it's just better. It's more well done. The songs are memorable. You've got fast, heavy, almost thrash metal stuff on here. And then you've got the song Tongue Reaper, very fast, very heavy. But then you got other songs on here that kind of go more towards the Metal Heart era, Accept stuff, and a little more, still heavy but melodic. And of course, Sir U.D.O. is the man behind the band, and he's just he's just one of the all-time great vocalists of heavy metal, ranking up there with pretty much anybody. I mean, I put him up there with Halford and Dickinson and James Rivera and all those great metal vocalists. So. Yeah, this is, excuse me, a little tickle there. I got Brainstorm. This is a new Brainstorm. This is Midnight Ghost. Again, I only have this one on CD. It is available on vinyl. Honestly, this is their best album in a while, and I like Brainstorm a lot. But this one just seems to be more memorable than the past few. Actually, the sticker on here says, what a blast. The best Brainstorm album since Soul Temptation. And it might be a hype sticker, but I agree. It's their best album since Soul Temptation. It's easily as good as that album. It's got them awesome vocals from Andy Frank, great riffing, very German in the sound, German power metal, lots of double bass, lots of fast riffing, very fast, great guitar solos. So definitely belonging in my top 30 for 2018. Brainstorm, Midnight Ghost. Hopefully one of these days I'll be able to get that one on vinyl as well. Alright, going to be getting more into the vinyl now. This is going to be number, let's see, I wrote it down here so I wouldn't forget, 25. Number 25 is actually an AOR band, which is not necessarily my cup of tea. I'm not usually a huge fan of it because it's just a bit too mellow for me, and I don't know. But this one's not. This is Tango Down, and I gotta admit, when I first got this, it didn't knock me out. It took me a while, but I just really started getting into it. What really pulled me in was the riffs. Scott Miller, I believe, is the guitar player's name, and man, this guy just writes some great riffs. So this album's got a bit of an edge to it. Very clean, very good vocals. Very cool album cover as well. I really enjoyed this album. Kind of shocked that it made my list because honestly, when I first heard it, it didn't bowl me over. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of AOR, but this album did it for me. Really enjoyed this one. So Tango Down's Bulletproof coming at number 25. Number 24, this is White Wizzard, California-based traditional heavy metal band, definitely from that new wave of traditional heavy metal school, and this is the return of original vocalist, I forget his name here, let's see, Wyatt Screaming Demon Anderson, and original guitarist James J. LaRue. So that's just straightforward heavy metal, very good. Not power metal. A lot of people call on that, but it's not power metal. I mean, U.S. power metal is that sound that's between, it's almost pushing towards thrash. And it's definitely not, European power metal. It's not, just all double bass. It's not all about, Dungeons and Dragons and all that kind of stuff. It's just straightforward heavy metal, like the band's first 2 albums, Denim and Leather, heavy metal. Very good album from them. I was very impressed with this comeback album from them. So, White Wizzard, Infernal Overdrive. This is Metal Blade Records, this is coming in at number 23. This is VISIGOTH, another one of those new traditional bands. Now this band, I would say, tends more towards the power metal sound, specifically the European power metal sound. But, excuse me, they definitely have their own unique bend. You know, and this album just really pulled me in. It's kind of funny because I've been hearing people talk about these guys for a long time, and I just really never checked them out. Finally got this copy, and man, just blown away by how good this thing. I can't even tell you how many times I listened to this monstrosity this year. Monstrosity? Monster of a record? Monstrosity means a bad record, right? So this monster of a record. So there you go. VISIGOTH. This is Conqueror's Oath on Metal Blade Records for 2018. Number 22. This is Doro, Forever Warriors. This is a great album from Doro. This is just full of heavy metal anthems. If you like the old Warlock, you're probably going to dig this as well. You know, Doro's kind of gone in and out of, but she's always kind of remains true to this, you know, straightforward heavy metal, even if she's gone more leaning towards more pop or hard rock at times. But this is just straightforward heavy metal anthems. Every song on here is really enjoyable. I mean, you got All for Metal, If You Can't Have You, No One Will, Soldiers of Metal, Turn It Up, Blood, Sweat, and Rock and Roll, Don't Break My Heart Again, Love's Gone to Hell. I mean, it's just, you know, the titles tell you what the songs are about and how the songs sound. It's exactly what you want to hear from Doro. Wonderful voice, great band, very good, memorable, hooky, anthemic heavy metal. And this list seems to have a lot of new bands in here. Well, newer bands, not 80s bands, but this is Cauldron. And I'm thinking we're on, like, for Cauldron, I think it's like their 5th or 6th album. I can't remember now. But this bizarre cover and album title is New Gods. Again, straightforward heavy metal. Coming out of Canada, they do have, you know, kind of that Priest sound going on, but it's their own sound. You know, it's... The only reason I say Priest is not because they sound like Priest, but because it's traditional heavy metal. You know, it's not speed or thrash or death or, you know, goth or any of those kind of things. You know, they just stick to great, straightforward heavy metal riffing. You know, heavy rhythm section, great guitar solo, screaming vocals, sing along, pump your fists. You know, that's what it's all about. And I think Cauldron just have that sound down. Really enjoyed this album from them. Easily could have been higher in my list, which just tells you how good my top of my list is and just how great some of those albums are. Coming in at number 20, so this is our top 20 now. Barely squeaking into the top 20. One of my all-time favorite artists, Ace Frehley. Ace is Ace. He doesn't really stray from what Ace does. And I think that this album is exactly that. People seem to either love it or hate it. I think it's a good album. I really enjoyed it. Is it his best ever? I don't know, but it's Ace, and it's very good Ace. You know, it's kind of quirky. Ace is quirky. I mean, the album cover is quirky. The music is quirky. It's just straightforward, heavy rock and roll. You know, you go back to 1978 in his first solo album, he doesn't really stray far from that formula, you know. He's not fancy, he's not over the top, he's just Ace. He's charismatic, he has his own sound, and with this album you hear exactly that. So anyhow, great album from him. Kind of short, coming in with, what was it, 9 songs I think, 1 instrumental, and then there's a cover song on here as well, but I really enjoyed it. There's actually 3 different covers for this one. I only bought this one. Just didn't have the money to buy 3 different covers from the same artist, so didn't. This next one's kind of shocking, because when I first got it, I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to Lizzy Borden? This is the brand new Lizzy Borden album. This is My Midnight Things, and when I first got it, I was kind of shocked. Like I said, it was like, it's not heavy. His last few albums have been very heavy, very guitar driven, and this one is definitely more, I don't want to say song driven, but it's just different. It's a little more melodic. It's a little more poppy even, which I know is a bad thing to say about heavy metal, but it's not that heavy. It's just very good songwriting, kind of creepy, like in an Alice Cooper kind of way, but that's what Lizzy does, and he does it well. The songs are memorable. There's a bunch of songs on here that easily could have been hits had they been released, you know, in the 80s. Unfortunately, it's not the 80s, and people don't care about, you know, music anymore. They just care about what's forced on them by radio stations who are paid to play stuff. So, but yeah, the title track, My Midnight Things, fantastic. There's just not a bad song on here. Obsessed with You, wow, great song. If that doesn't stay in Lizzy's set list for the rest of his existence, I'd be shocked. It's just such a good song. Very good album from Lizzy, but very different from what you would expect from Lizzy. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, it ended up growing on me after I, listened to it the first time, put it down, kind of left it there, and went back to it weeks later and put it on again, and then I just got it, and then after that I've been playing it and listening to it and enjoying it. Number 18, The Living Dead, Gravedigger, German power metal. Gravedigger, again, Gravedigger, they don't stray too much from their sound. They've always kind of been the band, at least through the 90s, 2000s, where they were always telling stories, and every album was kind of epic, and the whole album was a storyline. The last couple albums have been more song-oriented, less about stories. This one here, I don't know that it has a storyline to it, but it is all based on the whole, zombie phenomena that people are all into, and I enjoyed it, but I don't think that they focused so much on the songs or the storytelling that they didn't focus on the songwriting, because there's lots of great headbanging riffs on here. Just dating back to the 80s, these guys have just been one of my favorites, and they haven't let me down, and this album is, didn't let me down either. Just great stuff from Gravedigger, The Living Dead. Second album for these guys, sort of. This is Riot 5, Riot V, whatever you want to call them. This is the band that's been moving on as under the Riot name, using the mascot of Johnny or Tior ever since Mark Reale passed away. Mark Reale was Riot, so Riot 5 has been carrying on the tradition. Now, some people don't seem to like that. I think it's great. Not only are they creating great new music that's easily as good as anything coming out today, but they're also keeping the Riot name alive and the old Riot music alive. So very good album from them. Riot V, Armor of Light. I think I might even like it better than the album they released last year, which I also thought was a great album. So very good stuff. Nuclear Blast Records, 2018. I have it on CD and vinyl, and can't even tell you how many times I've played this since picking it up. This album was a shock as well, in a good way. I love Anvil. Anybody who's followed my channel or my YouTube, my Facebook for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge Anvil fanatic. But I am not one to love a band so much that I can't say I don't like an album. And the last two albums were good, but they weren't great. I found a few songs I really liked on them. And then there was a lot of stuff that kind of just was okay. But this album was shockingly great. The production is spot on. The lyrics are goofy as usual, but Anvil's always had that kind of sound to them. And I really think this is probably their best album since Strength of Steel, really. Just shockingly good. Some funny stuff on here too, like Bitch in the Box, hilarious song about getting lost following that, going on tour, and you got the direction lady telling you where to go, where to turn, and it's just about getting lost, listening and following her directions. It's pretty humorous, but it's a great song, very heavy. Ego, Doing What I Want, which is another full-on Anvil song. I don't care what you guys think of us, we're gonna do this, and that's what the song's all about. Smash Your Face, In Your Face heavy metal. Pounding the Pavement, fantastic. Instrumental. Next song, Rock That Shit, a little goofy, but it's Anvil and I like it. Great song. Let It Go. There's just Nanook of the North, a very Anvil song, very Canadian sounding, and I love that song. So again, there's just nothing on here I don't like. Best Anvil album in quite a long time. This is Pounding the Pavement for 2018, and this was on SPV Records. Number 15, STRYPER, Goddamn Evil. Big controversy over this one. This band just seems to thrive on controversy. Very clear what they were saying with the name. Goddamn Evil. That's a request, not a cussing. But it was a brilliant play on words because people lost their minds over it. Oh, they're using God's name in vain. No, they're not using God's name in vain. Read the lyrics to the song. But anyhow, regardless of the controversy, the music is great. It took me a little while to get past the first song, Take It to the Cross. Very weird chorus in that song. I mean, the the verse of that song is very driven, mid-paced STRYPER, like as you want to hear them. You know, they always had that overdriven guitar sound. I love their guitar sound. But then it gets to the chorus, and it's like just, I don't know, almost, people say thrash, but it's not thrash. Just very fast, and Michael Sweet sucking in helium to sing the lyrics. Take it to the cross, take it to the cross. Take it. It's just, you know, very odd for them. But you know, they were trying something different. Frankly, I don't know how well it worked, but I like it, so I guess it worked okay for me. But there's just not a bad song on here. Sorry and Lost, the title track, it's just a great album from STRYPER. One of the best of 2018 in my opinion. Another shocker. I like this band. I never would have probably put this band in my top whatever for this year. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this album and how good this album is. This is the third album from Fifth Angel, and it's been decades since their last album, and wow, what a great album this is. Again, this is power metal, very melodic, almost symphonic, I want to say. That's probably the wrong term to use, but it just drew me in from the very first listen, and that's unusual for me. So anyhow, great heavy metal, great melodies, memorable songs, fantastic musicianship. If you like their first two albums, chances are you're going to love this one as well, if not more so than those. It's just very, very good album from them. So, Fifth Angel, and what's the name of the album? The Third Secret. Another new band, another band from Canada. This is STRYPER, Play It to Win. I haven't even showed this one in an update video yet. Kevin, War God, scored me a copy of this for basically for, you know, around Christmas time, for Christmas. So very cool gift from him, but quickly moved up in the list because it's just that good. I really like this band to begin with, but this album, they just have lost nothing with each new album. They've just gotten better and better and better, and Play to Win is fantastic. The name of the album tells it all. You know, they are still young, they're still hungry, and they're still putting out great music. Traditional heavy metal, once again, great vocals, great songwriting, memorable hooks, memorable riffs. Heavy metal, I love it. So, great stuff. STRYPER, Play to Win. STRYPER came in at number, let's see, STRYPER was number 13. This one could have been higher. I struggled with this one because I really, really like it. But I put it at number 12. This is Jimmy Brown's ERASERHEAD. Different. This is very different from Jimmy Brown, if anybody knows this, is the main man behind Deliverance. He's also done many other side projects. This kind of sounds like Deliverance. However, it sounds like 90s Deliverance. You know what I mean? It's kind of, it has the groove, it has a bit of funk, it has a bit of soul. It's not speed metal, it's not thrash. It's still heavy, it still rocks, it still even has metal in parts, but it's very diverse, very melodic. If you like the album River Disturbance that the band put out in 1995, this is basically the follow-up to that album. And that's for multiple reasons. Actually, it's the same, pretty much the same band that recorded that album, so very good stuff from them. I played this thing over and over and over again. Yeah, great album. ERASERHEAD, Jimmy Brown's ERASERHEAD, fantastic, melodic, hard rock, heavy metal, even slightly progressive at times. Alright, we're almost to our top 10. This is number 11. Man, I regretted not putting this one in my top 10 because I really played this a lot. But man, that's just, I couldn't take anything out of the top 10. So, Void, or VOJD, however you want to pronounce it, The Outer Limits. This is basically Black Trip under their new name. 70s retro sound, very, very heavily influenced by the likes of Thin Lizzy. Just kind of has that, you know, European heavy 70s rock sound, twin guitars, the melodies, the harmonies, the I don't know, it's just good. I don't know that I even call it heavy metal. It does have some, you know, early Iron Maiden-esque sounds to it, but it's not quite as heavy as the two Black Trip albums, in my opinion. I think it's more of a retro 70s sound with better production than a lot of the 70s artists had. Very good album from them. I played it over and over again. I'm not even actually sure. I know that a couple members left, and that's why they changed the name, but really the sound hasn't gone that far different. They should have just left the name and continued on. And just built on that legacy from those two albums. But regardless, VOJD, The Outer Ocean, 2018, coming in at number 11. So now I'm going to do my top 10. I'm going to cut it here. I'll come back with the second part to this. So this video is actually not too long. That's it. Thanks for watching. God bless. Stay strong.